leader, I have no idea, because at the moment it looks like the entire Kenya is confused. And not the citizens, but the leaders that we have. What happened yesterday was really scary, looking at the people who are supposed to represent us, and yet they look like they're not even representing.
Unmute your mic, Ochani. Ama nimeanza kuwa kama bunge. Unmute your mic. I think your mic is muted. Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So what transpired yesterday was really scary for me, and it sent me cold, because what I'm thinking about is we don't have anybody who's going to represent the Mwananchi. I have no idea how we're going to get ourselves out of this hole, because it looks like the entire so what Parliament has been bought. They have a price. I have no idea.
Jamani, nani huyo anafanyia Ochani muting?
Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can hear you.
I have no idea what's happening. I think all odds are against me today. I cannot speak. So I think those are my sentiments. I'm afraid of what's happening in our country. And it looks like anything that the people are against and the politicians want, or the person who can bid highest, is going to pass through this parliament. Like, nobody is for the people. That we need to be careful about. And this proposal that was put forward by Cherargei, if you're not careful, it's going to pass through. I have no idea if Senate is going to pass it, but I think this is a wake-up call that Kenyans, we need to wake up. We have protested, we have done everything possible, and we just need to gather together and think and think and think what's the solution of the place where we are at. So thanks, and keep doing your thing with Home Run PP. Home Run with PP, I think I have been here for more than a year, and I've always loved it. Thank you.
Hapo sawa. Sasa si munipe break. Kwani nyinyi ampatiangi watu off?
Wapi break? We kunywa kahawa utalala ukifika binguni.
Sawa, poleni basi. Sini jokes basi. Hey, Zeke. How are you doing, Ziki? Sijui kama Ziki ananiget.
Nakushika. Niliaje pipi leo, nimesema wacha nikuje mapema kabla watu waingie, kwa sababu I'm very shy. Na sipendi kuongea pali watu wengi wako. Niko poa sana, but like, Chani has said, hadi hata mimi nimechanganikiwa. What is going on in Kenya? Literally, I mean, nasikia nikiingia kwa timeline, I feel like I'm getting so much information that my head is about to blow up, man. Like, there's so much happening, and then we also have our personal lives. So I think hata wewe ukiomba break hiyo that's merited, because everybody needs a break at this point, man. Everybody needs a break. Na ukisema break, eka recordings za asubuhi tusikie ma recordings.
Tunaweka kama Churchill. Tunaweka kama imetwanga hii jisho yao. Maina Kageni.
Yeah. But for now, I really don't know what's happening, but it's so scary. There's a clip of 001 Joho going around saying that he had foreseen this, and he had foreseen that Ruto will kick out Gachagua, and then Gachagua and then Ruto will put his own person, and then he will rule forever. And I feel like it's happening, dude. It's really happening, and it's so scary. Tumekaa tu tumenyamaza tu hadi takanyagwa shingo like I don't know what, man. I don't know if 25th of July is ever gonna happen. I mean, of June is gonna happen again. But I promise you, if it happens next time, itakuwa ile final fight for real, man. But other than that, tuko sawa. It's hump day. It's Wednesday. Middle of the week. Take some time to reflect and see what you have and what you need to do. And you guys need to have a good week, man. Saa pipi nimemaliza rant yangu.
Asante. So imagine sisi tuko hapo hivi live. Hapo katikati. Yeah.
Hata mimi niko live bana, jo. Sasa hii unajua na hustle. Hustle ni hustle, man.
Manze, yeah, but unajua sasa kitu moja tumekuja kurealize ni tuko in real deep trouble. Sai that is the general realization that has hit me yesterday. I have listened. I literally sat down through 14 hours of yesterday's parliamentary sittings just to listen. They were about walika kutoka around 10 mpaka around 9 p.m. So hiyo time yote I sat down through it and I was like, let me just sit down. Story ya kushikwa morara wacha wamshike tu. Wacha nisikize ni nini watu wanasema pale bunge. First of all, dissenting voices will not be tolerated. That was the message that was communicated yesterday. Dissenting voices will not be tolerated. Today in Senate, Edwin Sifuna refused to second the impeachment of Deputy President Gachagua, so that motion will go into plenary, so that will be followed into next week on 16th of October. So we will be following these things. And I was not going. Mimi, Zik, I think I'm good. I think I'm good. Tutaendelea kupambana. I feel like I said this on a space in the morning. I feel like if I kept quiet, it will also be a doomsletter to myself also. Because as you know, I have also been on the forefront in hosting spaces and all. And sadly, all of those State House accounts, I saw them following me. So you don't know what they're thinking or what they're planning for you. So the best and the safest thing to do is always be live. Nikikosa hapa live by 5 p.m. DK ananipigia simu, Ochani yako kwa DM, uko wapi? You see? So no. So yeah, it's easier. It's also for safety. But yes, thank you so much for tuning in. DK Gift, ukoaje?
Niko fiti baba, itakuaje?
Niko poa, sijui nini inaendelea hapa bwana.
Ati break. Una wazimu nini? Ati
break ni ya lunch ama ya chai?
Break ni ya lunch ama chai, my friend. Wacha nikuambie, unajua kuna wengine wetu kama mimi, I am actually, and I'm not saying it in a bad way, but you know, I'm actually dreading the day, because I know that day will come. I'm dreading the day I will get to the levels that you are as a brand, because you can't afford. I had you in that space in the morning. You can't afford to keep quiet. You can't afford to go on a break. In fact, let me tell you, the only way you go on a break, my friend, unless the situation like recently when you had to go deal with some family business, yeah, which of course that is totally inevitable. Boss, unless ulikuwa umepanda ndege fulani yenye huko umetuambia unapanda uende, so sasa uko pandia sijui yese ama wapi, na for some reason net imekata ufanya kazi ukiwa huko na tukiwa huko. You can't keep quiet. Because the day you do, the day you take that break, the day you say, you know what, I need a chill pill for 4 or 5 days. You don't like me calling you this, but the day you became bigwig, which you hate me calling you, you are robbed of that ability of the way Kamimi nilikupiganka kuambia last week. Any agent say, I'm having a couple of ninis, I'm going to take a few days off. Then you've already been robbed of that because you already have a voice. And the voice is so loud, the keeping quiet is now the opposite. Because now it will work for a hand. It is the easiest and best time to take you out. Bro, tutapata suicide note imewekwa hapo. Lichoka na maisha. Umeona warembo wa hiyo Rongai wamekukataa sana, so umeona tu unyurie. Bro, you can't. But to everybody, habari zenyu. Asanteni sana for being here. For those listening to me the first time, ninaitwa DK Gift. My apologies for having taken several days off, which I still probably have a few more, but the last few days, especially Jana, with what you are running people all day, and some of the other things that have been going on, the bickering and the internal fighting and moles and anti-moles and rats and whatever freaking discussions have been going on, I told myself today I'm going to be on the spaces and I'm going to come to home run because people venye tu umesema, I don't know what the hell is going on to us on all round. If it is not being entertained by a group of supposedly to be politically eloquent persons behaving in the most absurd manner, then we are on this other side fighting amongst ourselves, fighting even people that have been walking the journey since time immemorial, since people, some of us have even, before we even started having a conversation or even a voice to speak. And that's what we've become. It's just, it's hell all sides. So today I'm around because I'd like to hear what guys have to say. And I have, of course, my own couple of things we'll inject in between. But yeah, I'm glad to be around, hoping for a good one. To you, Pipi.
Okay. Thank you so much DK for that. Naona pale hivi kina Ankoroja amekuja, Joji and also Luka Matoki is on the line pale hivi. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Home Run with Pipi. Leo tumerudi normal programming 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. of course or thereabout. Western Shilao unajua tunampatia 30 minutes. Unajua Western ukifikiria ameenda kunyamaza alafu unasikia pipita alafu anaangusha fact hapo unashindwa kumwambia 1 minute. So anyway, we will work with the Department of Western. Hey.
Ama aseme as I land.
Acha akikuja ndo isikuombea atakuja. You know, I realized by the way for the past like 3 months Western Shilao has become a regular on Home Run. Peter. Anyway, let's wait and see. He's also a very awesome submitter. Thank you so much, Zeke. Having me said that, what can you make of what is happening, man? Having. All right, let's have Ankoroja niaje. Ankoroja. Okay. DK unanipata ama ni mimi ndo nimeenda?
Hata nilikuwa nikuuliza kwani tunajiongelesha ndugu yangu.
Georgie, aidha.
Pipi mimi niko hapa.
Fresh sana. Talk to me, man.
So, Pipi, okay, mi na feel kuchekelea watu na na feel kuwahurumia in equal measure. Because me, I don't know what generation, wale watu walizaliwa sijui ma 87 huko mnaweka age gani? Generation gani? Mimi niko hiyo generation. And nimeona vitu mingi and I've been told very many folks. Mimi nilikuwa natarajia kitu kama ita happen. I said somewhere, nikakemewa, nikaambiwa sijui elimu yangu imefika wapi. I kept quiet. Because, you know, we are dealing with a system that is already established and you yourself, you are trying to establish yourself. So, frustration ni lazima zikue. That is why ulikuwa unapata watu wengine walikuwa wanasema to incorporate wale watu mlikataa for institutional memory. Sasa si tumliwakataa and these fellas could have advised you. Ukisikia mtu amekaa siasa for around 20-30 years, that fella has a lot of experience, a lot of secrets and a lot of things, anaogopwa. Sasa sisi tukiingia siku moja mbili hivi, the results are whatever you are going to see. And but all is not lost. We can still salvage, tuangalie mtu mmoja, but hizi vita zenye tuko watu wako nazo. Unajua nilisikia ukiongea pahali, kuna pahali nilikuwa silent listener. Hii vita hakuna pahali tapeleka watu. And tutaendelea tu kufanya venye uliona nimeandika kwa tweet fulani, reply fulani nikasema, You normally go, sijui tunasema Pipi ni mfupi, Joji ni mrefu sana, sijui DK amefanya nini, sijui nini. We'll never get a perfect man. We'll never get a perfect candidate. But sometimes tunajaribingi kuangalia venye iko. And that is why these fellas, they know what they do. Ruto saizi najua ni nani, sijui atarudisha venye atafanya hivi. In case this happens. For us, we don't have a game plan. End result, ni venye sasa tuko. Watu hata saizi tutaendelea tu, wenye wamebakia kidogo, utakuwa unasikia sijui nani alifanya nini, nani anafanya nini. Everything will go where. Then tutajirealize, tutaregroup tena, will be a very good force. But currently, tutaendelea venye tuko. Hayo kwa sasa.
Asante sana bwana Joji. Joji alikuwa hapo hivyo anasema kwamba mimi nilisemekana mimi ni mfupi. Sijui kwa nini mnanionea hivyo.
This is home run with Pipi.
Ndio sijafika 6 foot, lakini DK ndio maana hata sitaki kucommit. Unajua kila mtu anapiga picha naye anakaa kama mtoto wake. So ila ilikuyani mrefu kwenda huko. So hi everybody. See Stevo Shemema tall. So when I walk around with Shemema nakaanga ni kama niko na anko yangu ama brother yangu mkubwa. Ellis Hill, how are you doing? Unmute your mic, bwana Ellis.
Niko sawa Pipi. Unanisikia?
Yeah man. Yeah, nakusikia.
Wow. Man, I've seen a words, Pipi, because of what's happening to our country, Kenya. And I think, anyway, me, I'm not a politician. I'm just a Kenyan. I can say that I know so much. Like, what scares me to death right now is to death because what we saw yesterday is a man with absolute power. Absolute power. Ruto is a dangerous man. Munasema mambo ya Museveni. Hey, my friend Pipi. It should be now Gen Zote. Sio Gen Z, it should be Gen Zote. If you saw the behavior of the MP, the whole country is captured. Kenya now is almost like a personal property at Ruto. We like it. Tupende tuzitake. So as a Kenyan citizen, because ukiangalia in any part of the world, anywhere there's serious politics, something that resemblance people representing people, maybe in a parliament, upper or lower houses, there's always a pushback. For whatever reason it is, there will be always a pushback. They'll be like, yeah, whatever has happened, but there is this due process of the law. But now in Kenya, Ruto is the law. And let me tell you, ukiangalia these MPs, they're in fear. Ni kama wa jamaa, for example, it's like messing with the mob. Unapatiwa kitu na the mob, like guess what? You do what you said you would do. Upende, usipende. So when I saw what went down yesterday, Kenyans, we need to be careful. Hii mambo ya division, because for me personally, from what I see, the Ruto is a very brilliant man. Very brilliant man. Ruto si mchezo. Ruto is not even Kibaki or not Uhuru. Ruto is a student of Moi. And you see what he went through with, read the history of Moi with Kenyatta. He went through hell when he was becoming a president. Nakavumilia. Look at what Ruto went through Uhuru. Nakavumilia. Lakini, what I can tell you for free, do not underestimate Ruto. He is a very strategic planner. Ukiangalia hata masomo ya watoto wake, kila kitu ni Kenya. Thinks he has mastered the heart of politics of Kenya. So, and what me hata venye naona, Kenya is not that atujui politics, but we are immature in politics. But what is common through these years of our dependence, and the colonialists capitalized on this, is our division. Unakuta hii kitu ya my tribe, this loyalty to your own tribe, these cocoons we form, is our own failure. And that's the first thing the colonialists did. Ukiangalia na kunjiuza, selling one another. Because do you think, and the British guy, he had so much experience dealing with so many other people throughout the world. That's why he was able to form an empire. Now ukiangalia the British, seriously, because they are under very superior army, yeah, their naval forces were pretty strong. But lakini, they are the heart of mastering the human psychology of divide and rule. Kila pahali walienda, they tried as much as they can to realize who is who. And the way they got that information, it's not that they infiltrating those groups. It may be India, it be in the Americas. No, in Africa especially, it was knowing who is who in each tribe. And then wanagonganisha. Now, if that information was coming from within yourself, within ourselves. So if you see what happened to Mountain yesterday, that should tell you a lot about us as Kenyans. We are divided to the core. Because ukiangalia even to the politics, even in, for example, even the impeachment of Donald Trump. Impeachment imekuwa up all the time. But you see, the Republicans were still Republicans. They supported the guy no matter what. Even though the guy was wrong. But now what we have in Kenya, hey man, this is fear. This is a mob. Ruto is no joke. Amewanunua wote. Na kuna mmoja angecheza. It's almost like their life is in danger. So kumaanisha, this MP they don't represent Kenyans. They don't. They are representing the big man. Huh? The G, the real G, the gangster. Huh? Nikama, I wish, did you see allow people like Saddam Hussein rule their country? Somebody like Libya, Muammar Gaddafi, how he was able to stay in power that long? The same thing to Sudan. Is they having this big man mentality? But Ruto is that big man, a very smart man, very strategic man. And as Kenyans, hakuna mambo ya Gen Z ndugu yangu. It should be Gen Zote. There should be no tribe. Because this divisiveness tuko nayo, hiyo ndio is the downfall of Kenya. Look at what ODM has done. Today as we speak, look at Raila. He's the flower girl of Ruto, I mean. He's the flower girl of Ruto. Think about that, man. Think about it, people. To me, as a Kenyan citizen, it was sad yesterday. Because when we give one person such absolute power, not we give, how he was able to capture it, that's what we need to realize our unity is key as a Kenyan citizen. Because hakuna mmoja wao anaweza sema sio mwizi. All of them. These guys are billionaires. Even the MP are multi-millionaires. They have all stolen. So kuna mtu amesikishwa kitu. So kuna venye wezi wanaweza kuja kutuambia huyu mwizi ndio mbaya sana na tunajua nyinyi nyote. It's all rotten rot. Wote hakuna mmoja wao mzuri. But it shows you there's a kingpin. Na sasa tukienda election, sikudanganyi. Hiyo election itaibwa vizuri sana na hakuna kitu tutadu. There's a reason why IEBC is not even constituted right now. It's a strategic plan. Anyway, when I mean nasema people, I'm not a politician. I'm not saying me. I'm just saying my own observation. I might be terribly wrong. Lakini venye naona ndugu yangu kusema ukweli, Ruto should not be underestimated. But he's evil though. Ruto, I swear to you, is evil. Kidnapping people. And he ndio vitu ukiangalia happens in these dictatorships. Even in Rwanda, go to some extent. Journalists disappear, people disappear, abduction, nobody says nothing. Absolute power. When one man thinks, without me, Kenya cannot go in there, without me, Uganda or Rwanda or Libya or Iraq cannot go through. Dictatorship mentality. And there's a time I saw a clip of Saddam Hussein, and he was addressing his cabinet. The grown men were crying. His cabinet, nobody could oppose him because he had something on each one of them. What walikuwa shanunuliwa? So what is this is final. So ni kama Ruto, what is this is final. Period. Kaja tuko kwa shinda pipi. Be well.
Asante bwana Ellis Hill. Leo tunaanza hatuna open time, tunaenda direct into the conversation, and my question is, who is your leader? It just hit me. We have 290 constituency, 281 MPs voted in agreement, because it wasn't, there was nothing there, but they voted in agreement with that.
Social conversations, engaging topics on your phone anywhere. This is Home Run with PP.
Adike.
You know why they did that? Because they wanted to purport this and make sure that they sell it as the quote unquote the entire country has spoken. All right. So whether y'all will go looking at whether it is every single constituency or some of them are nominated, not nominated, that number going as high as that, every single thing that has been happening has been so freaking calculated. When Ellis was talking, he reminded me of the man, that same man is talking about Saddam Hussein and that video. And there's a documentary I've watched that actually extends that clip he's talking about. It was a clip where there was purportedly traitors or some people that had purportedly treated him, and he had summoned all the ministers and all of them, sat them down, and so he starts calling their name and says, if I call your name, you go outside. And he calls that particular guy who was refusing to go. Now there's an extra clip, and I'll try look for it because I once just stumbled on it on YouTube. Now they talked to an ally in that clip. Some of the people that were speaking were allies to the man that was refusing to leave the room. And when he was talking, though I cannot retaliate everything he said, but what he was trying to put, and we'll see it right now in this, is it is one thing for a country to be ruled by a dictator. It is a whole different thing for a country to be ruled by a person working as a dictator with puppets on his hands that he could squish or recreate as fast or as slow as he wishes. That your lifespan as a political person, your career is in his hands, whether you like it or not. Worse still, to the point of even those that came into the government from the opposition perspective, like the opposition party itself. This broad-based situation is a proper example of it. A man who has calculated and knows, forgive my language, but I need every single one of your pair of balls in my hands, both you who supported me and you who did not. It is worse than where we came from our second president, who was a clear person who did not take two shits from anybody. You say something against him, he puts you down. Simple. He did not need a puppet. He did not need anybody to be his errand boy. He will deal with you straightforward. This one is a man filled with errand boys in his hands, and these errand boys' lives are his. So that 281 number, that number was worked on and calculated. I can even guarantee you, even those ones that did not, ni wale ambao wamesema kaa mbaya mi sitaenda na hii story. Or if not, they themselves are a calculation of the same. That, of course, to make it even more realistic, how will you make it realistic if you had 330 something all say yes? So all of it, that number has been purely to show that the entire nation is behind it. And let me just leave it there. And before, even without going back to people, I'll just go straight to Luca first. Luca, good evening. Please tell us your thoughts.
Habari.
Salama.
I hope you guys are fine. Na sasa Our country has a long, long way to go. Just imagine 290 constituencies, 281 vote as the executive wants. So what does that tell us? Whatever the executive wants in this country, they'll have their way. They will have their way. And the bad thing is that the moment we have an executive that does not care about them 1 inch, just look at the things they're doing. They are done deal. It came from the executive. The funding model for the universities, we even had the guy heading the executive ndio alikuwa anaongea about that. The chief or SHA or whatever that changed the NHIF to what it is today. When this guy was campaigning the last time for the top seat, he was quoted on many occasions saying that he wants to reform NHIF. And you can see what is happening. So we are in tough times. This guy is a puppet master. And the parliament, he has successfully put strings on them. So he's doing whatever he feels like. Ruto si mtu wa kuchezea. That's why actually in the last election, someone like me, I was really against this guy. You see, this is why, because he had shown these signs from early in the day, he had shown these signs. Na ni kama sisi, we as Kenyans, hata tukiambiwa, tukipewa warnings, hatusikiangi. Mnaambiwa huyu mtu ni mbaya, huyu mtu si mzuri, huyu mtu hatawafanyia maendeleo vizuri. Tunashinda tu tukisema, hapana, we are going with our guy. One thing I keep saying is this. Mimi ninakuanga mtu, I do trading online, sana. That is what I concentrate on. And I know there are even people come and ask me, hii kitu inafanywa aje? But you look at the way the individual is behaving, unaona huyu hata make hapo. And I think it's the same way. Even as we are speaking in this space, there are some of us who are not able to host a space like this. And I'm sure even you, the guys that we have you, Gift and Pipita, you can look and tell, huyu hataweza kuhost this space. And it occurs for every career. If it's a teacher, there is a teacher who knows so and so cannot make a good teacher. Hata mtu hawa watu wa kuuza maji hapa nje na mkokoteni, they know people can never do their work well. So what happened when Uhuru told us about Ruto, that hatafanya hii kazi vizuri? Did we listen? We decided not to listen. I think we've done this to ourselves. In one way, directly or indirectly, we've done this to ourselves. We gave ourselves this guy. There are these arguments that the elections were not free and fair. But how did this guy get in? There are many people who decided not to vote. Millions of people. Why did we fail to convince these people to vote for the other candidate in that election? At least he inge make it difficult. Wakati mtu unashindwa in an election by millions of votes, even manipulating that election haikuangi rahisi. It's difficult to do that. But when the figures were so close, like watu wameshindana na 100,000, 50,000, 200,000, manipulating that outcome is very easy. So I think we did this to ourselves. Na itabidi tumevumilia our mistakes. Maybe we can learn from these mistakes. Yeah, we might be doing the right things. Things like opposing the Adan deal. Things like, opposing this university funding model, because it's going to make many individuals to drop out of the education system. At kitu moja tujue, as we live our lives, as we move forward, as we prepare for 2027, and anything else that we are preparing for, tujue that Ruto is a step ahead of us. Okay? We are playing catch up. He is a step ahead of us. So by the time we get to his level and then tujaribu sasa to put the country in our own hands, it's going to be quite a difficult journey. It's not like a walk in the park. It's going to be very, very difficult. But am I saying that we give up? No, I'm not saying that we give up. I am not saying that we give up. So everyone has a role to play. There are those of us who can come here and share ideas. There are those ones who can write blogs about all these things that are happening. There are those ones who are able to air these things through the media. So tushikane mkono, because this country is ours, we fight for it. There is no another option. This country is ours, we fight for it. Let's not allow our country to go back to those days of, the second president. Yeah. And I hope this thing does not go the dimension of the tribal dimension. I hope it remains that, you remain united. Yeah, that is my prayer for today. I yield my mic.
Thank you, Luka Matoke. I don't know if you can get me DK. There was a moment of blackout.
Nakupata baba, ulikuwa umepotea?
Wamefanya ile kitu bana hapa kwa studio bwana. Mzima stima twa. But niko live. No need to worry. I see the one and only Uncle Roger. Uncle Roger, can you hear me? Asante sana Luka for that submission. Are you there?
Yeah, niko hapa. Sijui kama nasikika poa.
Sasa nakupata. Umepotea for a moment, but I can hear you. Let's hear from you, then General China, and then Muthiora.
Asante sana. So, what's happening in our country at the moment is really sad. Tuko ile mahali hatukuwa itaka kuwa, because now we have a president who seems to control everything. Someone who seems to control every ministry, every ward, Yama MCA, every county, and literally everything, at the two houses, the two parliaments. And this was something tulikuwa tumeona kitambo it happened when he started buying out members of the opposition and wanunua anawaleta kwa government. And revolution yetu imemu expose for who he is. There's someone hapa kwa space amesema that Ruto is a smart politician. Ruto isn't a smart politician. He is a rich politician. I'm saying so because his only tactics ni, you don't disagree with him, he buys you.
Ngoja. If that is your argument, before we go down on a rabbit hole, if that is your argument, if Ruto is a rich politician, what is Uhuru? Unajua jamaa babaki yako kwa picha pesa we.
I was about to ask that question. Thank you for reading my mind.
Uhuru is a richer politician. Sorry to interrupt.
I know. Apana, skiza what I was to say. Ruto is a rich politician. Now, why am I saying so? Because if you disagree with him, he will buy you out. Akipata you're not willing to be bought, he finds a way to oppress you ama kumalize. We've seen that happen.
Tusimame hapa Uncle Roger. Let's stop it here first. I want to stop you. Mute. I want to take 2 minutes from you before we go into a rabbit hole. Okay? I want us to agree on one thing.
Okay, niambia.
Mute. Sasa Tataka tuelewane leo kwa everybody that will take the mic today. Don't tell me William Ruto is not a smart politician. And you yourself have achieved nothing. Tuseme ukweli. Jana ile show yote tumekuwa tukiwatch. Ni nani ameunda? Cabinet secretaries. Nani yako hapo wetu? The laws that are being passed, the airport that has gone. We didn't know the airport was going until it was whistle blown. So bwana, tusianze kupepetana hapa hivi mgongo tukiambiane tule jamani fala, because that is the reason why we have been in the same spot all this time. Tunaambia eti is a chess player. Hapana, anacheza draft. No. If you are to come to this space and tell me that one more person, that William Ruto is a fool, na saizi wezi enda CBD usimame ushout Ruto must go, then ask yourself, are you underestimating your opponent? Watu wenye wamesoma the rules of power, wanajua kwamba do not underestimate your opponent, and that is what we have been doing since. Tumekuwa underestimate, tuambiane vitu hapa hivi watu waseme yeah. Then at the end of it all tunarudi tu tunakuwa tu echo chamber hapa hivi. So Uncle Roger, I'm sorry that I had to mute you and let you to just let you know that. But mimi I believe at this point we are dealing with Kenya's smartest politician. Not even in the time of joint coalition ya Kibaki did we ever get a vote of 280 people. I think this is the in clearance rate 80% now. So once we keep on talking here, Ruto is a fool. Look at the things he's doing. Look at the people he has put in where and wow. And how. You will see. So let us just stop all this kupampa roho eti jamani mjinga. No, yeah, you feel ni mjinga because you can't understand his games. But our politicians wanacheza a very long game. And if he can sit down on the table with Raila, then there is something that you need to know. So yeah, I'm going to go back to Uncle Roger. I know DK Gift has a point of order, but let me just go back to Uncle Roger because I gave him this chance. Uncle Roger, frame your statement vizuri.
Now I'm back. Sasa, I know. One thing about me, I don't always agree with everyone, and right now is when I will disagree with you kidogo. You'll just have to take my voice as a dissenting voice. Unisikize for a moment. Sijasema Ruto ni mjinga, but nimesema he is not smart. He is cunning. This is someone who will get away with everything using deceit and evasion. Akishindwa, then itabidi ameitisha msaada popote, even from his opponents, political opponents. We've seen that happen. I mean, when we cornered him, he had nowhere else to run apart from Raila and the Azimio section. But anyway, sasa hiyo ilipita. Now, when he ran to Azimio, politicians walikuja pamoja, wakaungana, and that's how they beat us. Now that's where I was heading. Our only strength ilikuwa sticking together as a group. And that's why mimi nilikuwa nasema we must remain as leaderless for as long as we possibly can. We still have 3 years to go. 3 years is long enough for us to start backstabbing each other. I mean, Pipi, if you are my leader right now, I don't even need 50 minutes ya kununuliwa and I turn against you. Now imagine what 3 years can do. We should have remained leaderless for as long as we could. And this is what I mean. Morara alikuwa ameiva kufanya Vampire Diaries. Hiyo tungemwachia aendelee huko. Wewe and the likes of KOT mmeiva ku hold spaces. You do that. Willy Oeba pale ana inject popote pe ana inject. We do that such that we don't rely on specific individuals for everything and anything. Because followers wako wakifeel umekuwa attacked, again they turn against the revolution. Followers wa Morara wakifeel Morara is being attacked, wana turn against the revolution. Alafu sasa we start having dissenting voices, tunaanza kupigana wenyewe kwa wenyewe, and that is exactly what William Ruto and his government wants us to do. Mpaka tunasahau the things that really matter. Adani, Shif, nini, IBC. Kuna mtu hapa ameongelea IBC, and there's under IBC there is something they call the 1-year rule. 1-year rule means the chairman and the commission of IBC, once put in place, inafaa kukuwapo for at least 1 year before it can hold any election. It needs exactly 1 year or more for it to review any boundaries, for it to, you get as in the entire process. Now that means as of next year, January, we have exactly 1 year to make sure IBC go in place, to have our elections in 2027 August. But with everything that is going on, we might not beat the constitutional deadline required for us to have our elections in August 2027. Because believe me, come next year, politicians watakam na all sorts of drama, enye sisi wa Kenya tutasahau, gosh, tunahitaji IBC for next year, for the next elections. William Ruto, I am very sure he is willing to forego the 2 years zenye watu wake wanataka kumuongezea on top of the 5 years for the first term. Now, if God allows us to have elections ya 2027 on time, that is when sasa these kinachera gay people watakuja na the 7 years term limit, and by then we'll be fucked up as a country. What I'm saying is we should forget about having leaders right now. It is too early, and the earlier we have leaders, the more fucked up we'll be. I'm sorry for using that word, because tunaanza kupigana wenyewe kwa wenyewe. We are human beings, and it is in our nature to identify ourselves with people tuna agree now. Now, if we start disagreements as early as now, believe me, William Ruto is there to stay. And he realized that majama, the moment naguza Morara, ama the moment naguza Willy Oeba, wanaanza kutandikana vita wenyewe kwa wenyewe. And it's seen. Siku wenye Shif iko kwa koti, Morara amekuwa kidnapped. Siku wenye IBC deadline itafika ya kutengenezwa, tutasikia Pipita amepotea kidogo for a few hours. Again, tunasahau. So let us stop focusing on few individuals and focus on the entire revolution, the entire movement. That is the only way we will beat these politicians, if we stick together and forget about having leaders. Hiyo ndo niko nayo for now. If at all nitakuwa the point tuko mbele nitaisema, but for now, thank you so much Pipi. At least now leo sasa umenisikia. Kuna siku ulinileta mbio sana and I was heading right. Nilikuwa niseme the point because I saw it coming. Ruto
nimekuwa kama Wetangula na wewe. Kila time nikikupata lazima.
Ruto is really funny. You have to see things from a different perspective. Usimuone muangalie kama mtu mjanja. That's the only way shika. Thank you.
So tumuite mikora. Sasa akita Rao Conman, yeye ni nani?
Wewe jamani, mkora ukimpa chance atatumaliza. Believe me. Ameanza kupiga 7 years.
DK, what do you have to say on this?
Ankoroja amekomboa hiyo vizuri, so shout out to him. Ameikomboa vipoa. Nafikiri one of the things yenye labda sitataka itani into an English class. I think one of the things in sasa some of us would have been stuck on is the vicinity or the definitions of the words themselves. And I think ile kitu niko nimetaka kusema your time when nilipop mkono yangu tu instantly, though he's made something by talking about a cunning leader versus a smart leader. And I think if I was to switch around your words, Ankoroja, would be that I'd say he's not a wise leader, which I believe is what you have actually explained out. He's not a wise leader. What he is I still think what I'd call a smart and cunning leader. And smart here being smart in terms of the ability to play a game of intellect, a game of intelligence, a game of that kind of level. Now, what I wanted to mention to you at that time was nilisikia nani akiongelea zile rules of power. 48 Rules of Power. I've read that book like a Bible over the past couple of years. There are certain 5 rules zinakuwaga hapo that can very much clearly show you that what kind of a leader Nani is. And I only mentioned 3. Law number 3, law number 6, and law number, I think, 27, if I'm not wrong. Law number 3 inasemaga kuhusu concealing your intentions. Talks about a cunning leader who often hides their true goals to maintain an advantage. Sounds familiar? I bet it does. Law 6, caught attention at all costs. They understand the importance of visibility and manipulation of perceptions. Law number 27, play on people's need to believe to create a cult-like following, so they can inspire loyalty by tapping into followers' desires and beliefs. And the last one I'll read is law number 20 that I skipped. It says, do not commit to anyone. Maintaining independence allows for flexibility and strategic maneuvering. What I know I need to be is a man who, and that's why I call him smart and cunning, is because Ruto ana play from a playbook here. You ever see? This is a man who's been seated in multiple classes of education from multiple lecturers, who has created his own playbook. His playbook does not exist with anybody. Sure, there's some parts of his playbook that you look at them and you're like, this smells like Nyayo. This smells like so. But he has made his own playbook. And his playbook is purely ran by 2 things. Number 1, intellectual game. Number 2, blackmail. And I have told you, every one of these people in one way or the other are in his hands by the balls, running his show. If you're not a smart and cunning person, there is no way you can make 281 human beings behave the way they behaved yesterday. There's a point I saw a clip, sijui hapa nilisikia hata pipi umeongelea. There's a point I saw kwa TV venye walisema the eyes have it. Osoro karibu aanguke akiruka kutoka kwa kiti. It is only a smart and cunning.
Nani alisema?
Nani?
Kimani Chunga went past the speaker akasema tumechukua, and they both laughed.
And they laughed it. Let me tell you, it is smartness and cunningness, and not smartness ile ya hapa si smart ile mtu ni smart ile si. Kuna kitu tunasemaga na Kikuyu, ujinga ya kuzaliwa, ulimoa aushi ya roho, ujinga ya kuzaliwa. This is a man with uwerevu ya kuzaliwa. He's a smart person who has used his ability as a smart student to turn things for him. That's what I see. So I wanted to say that. Let me not say too much. But Ankoroja uli save vizuri sana. So big up to you.
Naona tumepoteza Ankoroja, but I'm looking forward to going back to him. Ladies and gentlemen, it's 4 minutes past 5 p.m. That is DK Gift, my co-host today here on Home Run in PP.
You are listening to Home Run with PP. Weekdays from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Yeah, and now we're getting into the conversation side of this show. The first hour is always the opening time, but since things have been high octane, we didn't even have a time to just get people's opinion. We just got to get it on the way. Now we have a host of new speakers here in the form of Kira Obed Zoriko, Victor Kura, Ipia, and also General China is also here. So I'm going to start first of all with the one and only General China, Victor Kura, and then Obeds, and then we will hear from Alvin Miseda as well. General.
Yeah, thank you very much, Pipita, for the chance. I'm so happy to. Today we were a bit late for our show. I had to scatter in all spaces, like looking like, where is our brother Pipita today? But it's good we are here right now. Yeah, so first thing I want to talk about is what happened yesterday, the issue of the impeachment. So to my surprise today, like today, I'm a bit worried. I always just talk the truth the way it goes, because this impeachment on the other side, I'm seeing some people being celebrated as heroes, which I don't understand, because that one is going against our movement. This is a movement, and we are the only opposition. Remember, Kenya doesn't have opposition right now. The opposition was put in the box long time ago. We don't have opposition. The only opposition that is sitting outside here is this movement. The only problem that the movement is like scattered. Like there's this part, this person want to run this one want to run this one want to run this, which is causing. That's the only thing that is causing the confusion right now. We only need to be united as one team, because we are the only opposition outside here. Team Eri Komondi is opposition. Team Morara is opposition. Team all those activists that are opposing the government. We are speaking one thing, but we seem like we are so divided. So what President did yesterday was just stamping supremacy. The supremacy was not to show anyone. William Ruto is one guy who is always very firm. Like he always want to prove. Like yesterday there was something like he wanted to prove, like everyone who is in his political arena who may think that in the future or may have a plan to challenge him. It was yesterday that he was sending a point, and was sending a point home that the moment I appoint you to work with me, I can sack and hire at any time. The same message, that was also the message to the opposition, the people that he brought recently to the government, that even you have brought you to the government, I've given you the 4 CS post, but when you don't play my tune, I also don't play your tune. He was just like stamping. He was stamping something. There's something he wanted to prove by what happened yesterday. But I always say, like, this one should not always in any way interfere with our movement. Our movement is the strongest movement, because this is the only movement that made. Yes, we didn't accomplish. I always say that we didn't accomplish, like, most of the things we wanted to be done were not done, but we accomplished. When we say that, my friend, we don't want that financial bill, he came and openly talked and disowned it. Yes, they have mind played us along this time, and it is coming back. But the most important, there were some important things that we hinted on during that time, and we achieved them. So that makes us believe that Ruto, one thing that Ruto fears, let me tell you, Ruto does not fear ODM right now, because ODM is in his shoulder. So the only problem Ruto has outside here is this movement that is outside here. This movement, I might loud it for now, because this movement is leaderless as we talk right now, which has really given this man headache, like, which person can I approach to silence? The only headache that William Ruto has right now is to silence us. When Ruto akituingiza tu box hivi, is good to go. That's the only headache. Hiyo ndio headache peke yake huyu jamaa konayo. It is us. And kama sisi ndio the only headache to this guy, my friend, the only way to fight him also, and also prove a point, we need to be firm. Because if you are not firm, unasikia these stories are left, right, and center, that this guy has been bought, this guy has been bought, and this one causes disunity. Like there was an express that was held around 11. It was all these people who have been running expresses that we believe in. They've been bringing to us the information. Habari ikaanza kutoka hapo, like, who betrays Morara? Who betrays who? So when we start going to that point and we start finger pointing at each other, that's what Ruto want. Ruto does not want expressing sisi wote tunaelewana with one common thing, and that's why we always say it's very smart. I can't differ that this guy is very smart, because the moment we are divided, then he sails away with most of the things we want to do, because we can't say that in the parliament, like right now, something can be taken and we believe that it will fail to pass. It will just pass like what happened yesterday. The way they ganged up yesterday.
1 minute.
Yes. So in my 1 minute, I always just hint on unity, and I believe that William Ruto cannot overpower the Gen Zs. And Gen Zs have always, most of the time, hinted that let's put Gen Zs in this way. Gen Zs right now is not an age bracket of 1997 to this year. Gen Z right now is someone who in what our movement believes in. If you believe in what we are fighting for, you are a Gen Z, whether you are a 60 years old, who reason the way we reason, you are in our movement. So guys, let us not play like we are despairing, like these guys are outsmarting us. We should not, and that is something we should not even think about. Let me put it at that point. If I get time, I'll still continue. There's still a lot of time up to 8. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. We actually end at 9 p.m. So, General, don't hang around. I just want to hear from the rest of the other speakers. Victor Kura, how are you doing?
I'm fine, Pipi. Thank you. Thank you, Pipi. Thank you, DK Gift, for hosting this space. It's been a minute. And first of all, I'll talk to this in two perspectives. Post 25th June and pre-25th June. Earlier on, if you can recall, it was the government was chasing shadows. Like a week to 25th, they were chasing shadows. They were kidnapping in pursuit, looking for who is the real brain behind this maandamanos. But it came out clearly that it was just an element of surprise. The government was caught off guard, and people were united behind a cause. People were united behind a cause that couldn't be derailed by just some few kidnappings here and there. And a week to, like 2-3 days to 25th, I remember chatting with you, Pipi, in a different platform. And I told you, wow, what has been happening recently is shocking, because it's like the government was going on overdrive. Walikuwa wanatia bidii sana kuweza kuskato li maneno. Infiltration happened. Those who are in multiple groups who are mobilizing kwa ground wanajua. Infiltration happened. The communities, some of them were disbanded. Some guys were twisted to being sued on incitements na nini, a lot of hivi huku na kule. And going into 25th, they had to mobilize last minute ile kutuma goons nini. Yes, the protests were already massive. They couldn't control it. But yes, they infiltrated it on 25th also. After that, what happened? The infiltration on 25th was happening to the essence that they wanted to kill this idea that, leaderless, whateverless, any partyless. They wanted to kill the borders. They were trying to ghost the genie, and they managed. Because if you look keenly, the discussion after 25th changed to, actually, we need to mobilize differently. We need to get a party. We need to get some form of leadership. We need to formalize. No wonder you could see the mobilization around NCCPA. Later on, Morara Kebaso coming up with Inject Party. And in essence, people found it relatable, because the population was struggling to, we need to unite along an idea. People coalesced around this. Some figureheads came up, leadership started forming, faces started being seen, and yes, we played right into their hands. Because the agenda keeps shrinking. The agenda keeps fading away. The agenda keeps losing momentum, and we played right into their hands. The reason why I say this, it reminds me of one thing I keep pushing: unite or perish. Unite or perish. Without unity, we'll be going nowhere. And the only way to unite is around a cause, not around a personality, not around personalities, not around parties. The only way to unite is around a cause, and a cause which is, we have a dictator, we have an unjust president, we have an oppression in progress, we have imperialists at hand, we have all manner of evils going on, theft, left, right, and center. And here it is. They've won in such a way that Waswahili wanasema ukitaka kumla ndovu mkate kwa vipande 1000. They've opened 1,000 battle fronts. Adani this way, Shif that way, Rigiji this way, usiguse mulema huku, blah blah blah. A lot of battle fronts. Mall this way, mall that way. Let's steer away from these diversions. Let's be keen and steer away from this diversion. Let's focus. Kenyans should focus. Kenyans should listen to their conscience. See it, Kebaso should fight for you. No. Sieti, don't expect Kasmuel to fight. Fight for yourself. Fight for yourself. The moment people were out on 25th, it wasn't because somebody took them out of their homes that, oh, you have to undermana. No. All those who were on the streets then knew it was about life, it was about because, oh, the funding model, others went there because, oh, their businesses were shrinking, others went there because unemployment. Everybody has an interest that needs to be threaded into the national fabric and the national ethos of this country. An interest which is clearly engraved in the constitution of this country that people need to focus on. And so that I don't take too long, let me yield there currently, but I repeat, we either unite or perish divided. Thank you. Thank you, Pipi.
Thank you, Victor Akura, for that submission. Obeds Oriku, how are you doing? And then after Obeds, DK, if you can, you will be going with Kina Aving, Mudiora, Bernard, and also a peer review. Come up around, DK. Victor.
Hi, Pipi.
No, not Victor, Obeds. Thank you so much, Victor. Hi.
Hi, Pipi. How are you?
I'm good. Salama, sir.
Thank you. I hope I'm clear.
Yes, sir.
First of all, I just want to thank you for, you've been doing a very excellent job and keep doing this. Watching what happened yesterday, it has a lot to read and to understand. For people to know that a day in politics is such a long time. And at the same time, that sometimes you're given a very long rope to hang yourself. That said, when I look at what you say, who is your leader, there's so many ways to look at it. Maybe you're looking at who is the head of the revolution or the renaissance, as I call it, or who is our leader in this country, or generally, what is a leader? When you try to evaluate, the person who is currently in power is a man who is a tactical genius in terms of strategy and politically so. He is masterful. And I think he's partially grateful that the Gen Z protest happened. Partially, it has helped him to be able to hang Rigathi Gachagua. Now, this is going to be a very long, drawn-out battle, whichever you want to look at it. We are going to first test the Constitution, its limits, and what can be done and how it should be done. Even how the impeachment process was, there are issues around it. Because, for instance, you cannot have someone come to defend himself after you guys have discussed him without you having listened to that person signed before. Because by the time he was coming to the house, there was a conversation that had taken place the whole day. So there were issues around it. But that said, what people need to appreciate, so that I don't want to take a lot of time, I just want to just pick a few issues here and there. One thing that we must appreciate as people are agitating for a change and a difference in this country is that nature abhors a vacuum. You need to have a leader, whichever you want to look at it. Even if you say you're leaderless and stuff, people must take responsibility in strategic key areas so that you can be able to achieve the plan that you have. It doesn't have to be in the open. The other mistake people have made consistently, our strategies have been made on the spaces. Remember, infiltration happens. Politics is not a religion where you try to say morality works and what. Politics is about interest. It's about what you want to achieve. You're getting into an environment that does not care how you achieve what you achieve. What is important is as long as the interest is achieved. So we can run amok, say all the things we want to say, but we must appreciate that when you look at life from a political lens, and that's what people are doing by advocacy, by civic education, and saying what we are saying, it's all about politics. And if you must get power, power is not given. Power must be taken. You have to know, again, it is a long, torturous journey that does not just happen in a day. Those who start might not finish it, but as long as people can see the picture, the end from the beginning, then it doesn't matter how you go, whichever route you take, you will get there. So simply for me, is we probably need to regroup, recalibrate, and then find another way. Because the person you're fighting is not going to allow you to defeat them. They're in a position where they enjoy the monopoly of power, violence. They can do anything. But you must be very strategic. Know what are their weaknesses. Which are the ways to go around ensuring that you beat their weaknesses. If that is the case, then it's achievable. But as long as people remain divided, you doubt each other, people are hungry, poverty is the enemy, it's going to be a long one. But I know we are on the cusp. And the things that are going on in the country at the moment is the status quo trying to maintain itself, and these noise and the renaissance is coming up, and the digital period is helping. So there is hope, but it's not going to be easy, but it is possible. About people who've come out to say they are the leaders and what. Remember, some people are in this for fame. Some people are in this just to ensure that they get identified and be called to the table so that they can eat. So if you want to have that savior messiah mentality that Kenyans have had to have somebody to liberate them, it's going to be difficult. This has to be all of us, hands on deck, everyone with their expertise and small part to contribute to the bigger picture. If we know that, then it must work well. Thank you, PP.
Thank you so much, Bwana Obeds Rico.
All right. Pipi, asante sana. And before I go to, I know I have Avin, I also have Rasju who's just joined, Bernard, Muthiora, and also CIP. Now, before I go to you guys, let me just remind anyone who's listening to us, first time in a second hour of the show today, Home Run with Pipi. On this second hour, we get to start off our topic. Lakini pia tumekuwa tumewaka moto, ile tunaitaga kuwaka moto kama dragon. So we have found ourselves starting off our topic earlier in the first hour. I will take from the main man his words from him. Home Run with PP is supported by you, who is listening to us every day, every other hour, Monday to Friday. So if you like the work that is being done here, tafadhali do feel free to support us on the tip jar. That's 0721948229. Thank you very much. Nitaanza na Avin kwanza, then after Avin we'll go to Bernard, go to Muthiora, Ipia, and then finally to Rasji. Avin, good evening. I hope you can hear us now.
Well, I can hear you very well. I just hope you can hear me because of where I am.
Yeah, yes we can. Please go on.
All right, thank you. Now, in this journey of ours for change, we often come across different types of intelligence in leaders. Some are smart, others are crafty. But there's a key difference between the two. Being smart means having the ability to solve problems, to think critically, and to understand complex issues with clarity. A smart leader uses their intellect to uplift others and create solutions that benefit everyone. It's about honest decision-making that moves us forward. So smart, the word smart always has a positive connotation to it. And if there's no positive connotation to any leader, then I cannot call them smart. However, being crafty is different. Craftiness is cleverness used for personal gain, often at the expense of others. A crafty leader might manipulate or deceive to achieve their goals, prioritizing their interests over the common good. This is not the kind of leadership we need. But leadership in itself is essential in our movement. Why? Because without a leader, it's very hard to mobilize people. It is also very hard to gather resources needed for success. A leader brings vision, coordination, and strategy to the table. They unite people, organize efforts, and provide direction. And they ensure that everybody is working toward a common goal. And even, I've come on this space multiple times to criticize Murara, but I've always maintained that I can criticize him and still support him. Because based on the criteria I've mentioned, he is the leader in this movement. There's no dispute in that. He's been able to mobilize people. He's been able to gather resources that's needed for success. And he's also provided vision, coordination, strategy, and he's also united people. And guess what, guys? Based on that same criteria, Casmuel was also a leader in the movement. Unfortunately, we've said he's no longer a leader. But then that's why I say it's important to understand that leadership is not a bad thing. And it's necessary so long as the leader remains beholden to the people or to the party they represent. You know, we did not want interactions with members of the political class, and when Kasmil did that, we said we can no longer ride with you. So, but when a leader is accountable, when they listen to the voices of those they serve, their power is not a threat but a tool for collective success. They help us gather resources and mobilize in ways that would be impossible without such a figure. Now, me, to answer the question of who is your leader, who is my leader is Senator Okiya Omtata. This is someone that I did my own research on personally and realized I'm actually a fan of what you've done. I've had the privilege of, when I called him, he answered. I had the privilege of speaking to him face to face. And I said, this is someone that I can trust for now. You know, you're beholden to the people. You've listened to what I've had to say, and you're someone I can help spread their message. So please, guys, let's embrace smart leadership, not crafty manipulation. And let's always make sure our leaders remain accountable to us. We don't need to complain about, oh, we're leaderless. There's nothing wrong with having a leader. Let's just make sure when it's time to hold them accountable, we hold them accountable. When it's time to ask them to be transparent, they are transparent. If they fail the criteria, we drop them and move on. Because there have been people in this movement that have stood out. Pipe himself has stood out as a leader. If Pipe decides that he's no longer going to talk about politics, he's going to talk about, let's say, gossip in the American hip-hop community, and we say no, if he listens to us and says, okay, fine, I've listened to what you guys have to say, I'll stick to politics, then we can continue to mobilize around him. If he refuses, we can just move on. So God, there's nothing wrong with having a leader. Please, let's all agree on that. Thank you. And my leader is Senator Omtata.
All right. Asante sana, Avin. Thank you very much, and a lovely evening to you too. Bernard. Good evening, Bernard. How are you? Bernard, can you hear me? If you can unmute your mic, please. Then after you, we'll go to Muthiora. Okay. Muthiora, are you there? Let's go with you first. Habari ya leo?
Safi sana, nashukuru kwa hii nafasi ambayo umenipa. Sijui kama nasikika vizuri.
Kabisa.
Nipe hai kama unanipata.
Nakusikia.
Safi, naomba nijitambulishe kwa majina. Mimi ni Muthiora Kariara, former presidential running mate. Hiyo ilikuwa 2017. And in 2022, I ran for president. Why I have made that introduction is because I've seen a lot of young people feel ashamed to say that they are interested in the politics of this nation. Imekuwa vigumu kwa watu ku-own up kwamba mimi ni mwanasiasa. Na mwanzo kabisa, ningependa kusema kuwa Muthiora Kariara ni mwanasiasa. Niingie kwenye mazungumzo ya leo, na nina jambo ambalo kwanza ningependa kurekebisha. There is a speaker here who said that according to our law or constitution, IEBC is required to be set up at least a year before an election. I would say that this is amongst the recommendations that were done. So it's not in law and it's not in our constitution that we must have a commission in place a year before an election, although that's considered to be best practice. So yes, we are late to have this commission in place because when they get into office too close to an election, they will not have mastered what needs to be done, and therefore they'll be easy to manipulate. You can imagine going to manage a process where you have a player like Raila Odinga who has been running for office for over 30 years. They clearly have an advantage. So let's first get that right. There has also been something with regard to the intellect of the current president, William Ruto. And there are those who doubt that he is smart. The truth is, William Ruto is an astute politician. He's a person that has risen from the very lowest ranks in our leadership structure to the very top. Now, show me any other person that has done that. Kenya is known to produce intellectuals, industrialists, entrepreneurs, and all these people today, I would say, bow to him. So for a person to have risen from that very low level to the apex of it all, it would be foolhardy for you to imagine that they are not smart. Yes, he's crafty, but you must give it to him that he's this genius when it comes to tactical political strategy formulation and implementation. Now, I was on the ballot with him in 2017 as deputy presidential candidates. Of course, they went on to win that election. But then how did they get elected? It was all about tactics. Talk about 2022. How did he outmaneuver those whom we thought had the system? It's all because he organized better. So let us not make the mistake to imagine that William Ruto is not a genius. He may be all those other vile things, but then when it comes to strategy, he's amongst the best. Now, that said, let's go to this movement that we've been working on to help yield this third liberation that must come so that every Kenyan has a chance. We've seen the infighting, and the infighting is because sometimes people want to own a movement. No one can succeed in that effort. It's futile. We should not indulge in it. There'll be leading voices who will come and go. But as long as we keep our eyes on the ball, we are on course. We know about Caswell, and we know that he played his role. He helped to galvanize people, to show people that we can do this. And he served his purpose. He has chosen to go and be in bed with those we were fighting against. And that's totally okay for him. He's not part of this anymore. Does that mean we cannot continue marching forward? Of course not. Our objective is still not made. You have seen Morara issue a tweet today that he's taking a break, and then there are all these comments that people are making with regard to whether do we still have a leader. Of course, he was not in charge of this movement. And this can be demonstrated by the public participation that happened when they said they wanted Kenyans to give input with regard to the deputy president's impeachment. For once, yes, there was a notice put out there, and it was expected that the members of parliament would be in charge of this process. But Kenyans, out of their own free will, came out and expressed themselves, and it wasn't in support of the motion that had been tabled. They just came out and laid it bare that this is what we feel with regard to what you are doing. You did not call us for public participation when you were coming up with this higher education funding model, or when you were putting in place SHIF, or even when you are formulating the punitive finance bill 2024. So Kenyans have this collective conscience that will lead them, that will guide them to where they need to go, because right now it's clear that rapture will have to happen at some point. Now, I will lay it here that we have people organizing from different quarters. Do not call that division. It's just that we all do not have a common background. And in fact, it's good that we have diversity, because sometimes there are strategies that will fail along the way. So if a team does not have the best strategy and along the way they run into headwinds and they are not able to complete the journey, it will help us or serve us well that we will have another team that could be trying out something else and they may eventually be the ones to get us across the finish line. So don't see that as a division. We have a coalition that currently has 61 grassroots pro-people organizations working under the banner of NCCPA. You may have heard these from the X spaces we've conducted, either through before we were going with Casmuel's X account, and then we switched to Okia Omtata's account, and this is going on. So NCCPA has tried to consolidate the gains that Kenyans made during the Gen Z-led protests. And we've just been trying to make sure that all those who are advancing the people's struggle do not appear like these preachers without a church, so that when one is in trouble, there is a collective that will rally around them and give them the support that they need. And of course, keep honing the skills of those who are out there, so that eventually when we get to deliver that revolutionary moment where we make this regime bow to the people, then we will have leaders who are ready to carry on the mission. Because then, if we'll not have done that, we'll have failed. We keep urging people to register as voters. But if we do not urge leaders to step forth and run for office, then the same people we are looking to get out of that space are the ones that will be elected by these people that we've been urging to register. So let us remember.
1 minute to land.
Okay. Well, okay, so I wish to advise us that it would be detrimental to all our efforts to imagine that we can go up against an opponent that believes in structure when we are leaderless, when we are formless. What we need to do is to remain decentralized, but focused on the agenda. The enemy for the Kenyan people is corruption, because with corruption, we get these leaders through fraudulent elections. So now that we know that the chief agent that corruption has given to us is William Ruto, and before anything changes, we must bring down every structure he's put up, let's know that we need to organize in those cells wherever we have influence. And then let's not jostle for who the leader is. The leader will emerge eventually when the time is right. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Muthura. Asante sana for your submission. I have seen a few hands go up after that. I'll go to IPA, then to Rasji. IPA.
Thank you for this opportunity. I wanted to know. I wanted somebody to be available from Mizani, SK Onyongo or somebody. Then discuss about this. I wanted to start with that issue because we have discussed with them for a very long time. This issue about tribalism in Kenya versus not tribalism, because he posted one thing about like 40-something Kenyan CEO, company secretary, and chairman. That's not how tribalism works in Kenya. How tribalism works in Kenya. For example, if you're a member of UDA and you are close to Ruto, or you are maybe kind of neutral that maybe you won't interfere with somebody's business, you can be a Luo, you'll be appointed, but the Luo people will not feel your effect. Even if you hire 1,000 Luos, even make a Luo all the way to, because they don't feel they don't feel politically. That's why if you see somebody like cabinet secretary was appointed there, it was a celebration there. It's not because he has employed more Luos in any position. It's because they feel at the top, and because the recommending authority was a Luo because they feel their leader. Now, that's how tribalism happened in Kenya. Because they removed the CEO of ICT and they removed kind of laws and they put some other laws and they still feel the same. That's how tribalism in Kenya. But Kenya on a serious note, Kenya is not a democracy. Kenya is a republic. Kenya, according to our constitution, you must respect the minority. You must also, in your any appointment, you must respect the face of Kenya. However much that we have small tribes, that's why we have big five tribes. The big five tribes: the Luo, the Luya, the Kalenjin, the Kikuyu, and the Kambas. They shouldn't be complaining in this country. Those are the tribes that should be complaining in this country about anything. Because if you go to the data, they have taken most jobs. Like, for example, most Kalenjins now, if you go to TSC, most Kalenjins are now teachers. They used to be the police officers, but after Kibaki took over, it was concentrated. They concentrated because they knew where the employment is. Now, when it comes to about political, what was we talking about? Ruto being political smart. These people, we are not the only person that I am seeing. Obed, you're here back. Thank you. Can you at least say hi? Because this
IPA, just finish your submission then, because Obed has already spoken. Just finish your submission, then we'll go to
I
him.
wanted him to say I wanted him to say hi for the sake of it, because these are the big five tribes, and he normally no. Now on my submission, when it comes to this Ruto being political genius, he's a political genius. I am not saying he's a book smart or anything. He's a political. That guy has lived for a very long time in politics. He have learned from both the Moi regime to in fact, he survived an impeachment when there were Kimunya was removed, but he wasn't removed. So this guy has survived that thing. So according to the way I see, he appeals the emotion and he reacts he acts before he reacts. He acts before but like for now, like people like Madiora are selling you something like what do you call it? What do you call it? In it was utopia that will go on merit. There are people following Matiora, who was vice president, somebody who could speak very well, but there are people following him. And there are people from all communities. He must balance one day because he must speak from this community, and will get people following him from every community. Who do you think you'll pick? You'll pick from his closest followers first, because if you leave me maybe as a Luo, maybe as a Kamba, maybe I'm a Kamba, because I've been there supporting you, doing mobilization and everything, Madiora leaves me. And no, according to the recommendation of the cycle of the people who will be trusted, Matiora from the cycle, I'll be recommended. But will I be the most competent? Maybe not. That's why there exists something called civil service. But I want to finish my submission by telling Obed, thank you for Mizani, and thank you for Pepita for giving everybody a chance. I want to thank Pepita and Mizani for giving everybody a chance to air their opinion. I want to learn there.
All right. Thank you very much, IPA. Most appreciated. I will give Obed a chance later for a submission after Luca. But for now, let me go to Rasji before I also share one point of view. And also, please remember, our topic for today is with regards to who you view as your leader. I know some of us have also walked in at a point in time where our conversation was somewhere about Just we touched something somewhere with one of the speakers who spoke about Ruto being a smart leader, and so the conversation went towards the political geniusness and all that. So that was not the main topic. It's just been what we've been touching on. Of course, feel free to share something you think on the same. If you believe he does bear what you'd call political geniusness or something, if that's the right word, or not. But also do remember our topic is on who you believe is your leader. Ras G, good evening. Ras, uko hapo?
Yes, DK. Thank you. And thank you for directing the motion back to the topic. I think we had diverted kidogo. Now, speaking of leadership, and I think even the topics, I believe you've come up with it because of the current happenings. And we find ourselves, I don't say ourselves, but I think majority of people who are yearning for change. Kenya is desperate for change. Kenya is desperate for leadership, and we find ourselves in a crossroad. Yeah, but at this particular time, I would be very hesitant to point out. That is my personal opinion about anything to do with leadership and my leader. The reason is because Kenyan politics is very interesting, and there are times I'll wear the political lens, because I think I've said before, those ambitions, they still stay with me. I'll still want to be a leader, a politician, if you can put it like that. At the same time, I would also want to see good governance and good leadership. So at times I can conflict into ideas na watu juu ya hiyo kitu. But most important right now, Peter and DK, we are looking at a country where there is politics. It's pure politics. The administration took in. We have not seen leadership. There is no leadership. It is politicking right from day one until to this very moment. It is politics that is playing out. We've seen politics in a very serious issue, like the impeachment of the person of the statures of the deputy president. I think we are setting a very bad precedent. We all agree that Gachagua from the onset was a very bad choice. Even the constitution itself did not allow the statures of William Ruto, Rigathi Gachagua, the likes of Uhuru Kenyatta. We knew very well the constitution, they did not meet the threshold to be in those leadership positions. But we went ahead. So currently we find Kenyans find themselves in spaces where everybody is giving ideas and they are just shooting left, right. Tunajipata tu kila siku tunaongea kuhusu strategy, ideas, and somebody has said it, na nimeona mtu ameandika hapa, William Ruto can be even 2 years ahead of us. Not because William Ruto is a smart politician. Not because William Ruto is smart, as many would want to believe that. The reason why William Ruto is strong is because he has amassed enough. Corruption has greatly rewarded William Ruto to an extent he is ready to compromise good souls that mean well for the country. And we have seen it very lately. We have seen it, how he has made the whole movement be infiltrated. We've seen how opposition came in to even salvage the government of the day that was sinking. All those tactics, they are William Ruto, because he has amassed enough. He has the corruption. We must agree as a nation, we only have one enemy. And one enemy huyu mwenye tunajaribu kutackle, he has all the coats, he has all the clothes. When he comes to lecturing people about democracy, William Ruto will wear the jacket for democracy and lecture you about democracy. But deep down, anajua vizuri, hamaanishi hiyo democracy. So where do we move really, Pipita, from here? Especially the past 1 week and the happenings that tunaona hapa katikati. I find it difficult when Kenyans of goodwill demand some answers from some quarters. When individuals pop up and crop up as leaders, we are not saying that what is happening currently ni ya kwamba people have refused to allow the revolution bring out leaders naturally uko mbele. We started so well. When the point came and the opposition hijacked the whole thing and they went the other side and they were rewarded, then others wakafika mahali wakaona, okay, we can, tunaweza fika mahali tukue huyu ndio hii ndio hii. And that is the mistake that we are making. I'm not saying to position yourself for a particular seat is bad, but our strategy has all along been long. We have given the enemy time. Ameingia. Right now there is total chaos, there is total confusion. Najua kuna wengi wata disagree, but that is what is happening. You can see even the mood of some people. People are questioning, and this is what I say. When the public questions you on some on matters of accountability, transparency, it is your obligation. Wewe umeamua utasimama kama watu, tokelezea huku mbele. Don't react. It's not a matter of telling people now, if Mimi, I don't want to beat around the bush. I think I have defended Morara for a very long time. And even the DCI themselves came to my house. I remember, and it did not took Morara, it never took the KOTs to rescue me from the situation. It took LSK and some other guys to come. Simply because there's this particular night when we called and hosted a space and we called people out to come in large numbers, go to a police station that they were in. And this, what we are saying, let us, when you are called upon to explain, if Kenyans are calling you upon, we would want to account for 1, 2, 3. It is your responsibility not to react in a manner that suggests, wewe kama umechoka na hii gari, shuka. Wewe kama unaona pesa yako inatusaidia sana, shuka. These are the sentiments that really kill the movement. They really kill the movement. And I would want to urge people who are positioning themselves for leadership, uko mbele, matters of scrutiny and matters of the public asking questions, especially when it has something to do with the money or what they are putting input. That one you have to be ready. There is no public servant mwenye ako huku nje, hata Ruto. The reason why Ruto is bombarded with a lot of questions, insulted, na hizo vitu zote, first of all, it is because he is a public a servant. For you to be a public servant, you have to be ready for those questions. Now, if you're not ready for those questions, and if these times will not test you to answer those questions, then believe me, then you are in the wrong course. Maybe you are supposed to play a certain role, and that wacha kila mtu achukue position yake. People will emerge huko. Maybe I'm not against you. If you want to become a politician, like me, I've said I want to become a politician. It will define itself. Sijasema ati nitakuwa kwa chama gani ama nitafanya nini. Time will decide huko mbele. The current crisis we are in, the enemy is re-strategizing every day. William Ruto anaona hizi moves that tuna make every day. When we come, he has employed enough intelligence on our spaces. They take notes, they compare, and believe me, somebody has said here, he's 2 years ahead of us. What we should be focusing and what we should be very keen on, William Ruto has a deliberate plan of suspending the constitution. That one you have to get it. You have seen what is happening in the East and Central Africa region. The other day, Southern Sudan.
Ras, sorry to cut you short. Let's land in a minute. Sorry.
Okay, in a minute. Okay, Sasa. Let me just conclude by saying we have seen what has happened in Southern Sudan. Election postponed. Zikaenda hivyo. We have seen what is happening in our neighbors, Tanzania. You've seen all of a sudden, Madam
Eat it a minute. Ruto is not going to do that. I want to eat in a minute.
Pia hivyo ndivyo utaenda nyumbani.
Yani spokesman wa nani hapa? Okay, nishampeleka kwenye anafaa. Continue 1 minute, Rasji.
Okay, so thank you, Pipita, for protecting me. What I'm saying, it's just an observation that I've seen. William Ruto and export the bad manners to the East Africa country. And you can see there is a very deliberate move. The reason why in Mesema there is a possibility of the constitution being changed. We saw the behavior of the MP House. It seems like all the minds of the legislators, and we saw the other day, Cherargei try to introduce a motion that has yet to be debated of extending the term limit. Remember, the term limit is supposed to extend your MCA term limit, your MP term limit, the governor's term limit. Now, why should these leaders reject that? Kwa nini our leaders was conspire na Ruto? Ruto is making the political class very comfortable because he knows where he draws the power currently is from the politician and not the people. Thank you so much, and let us do something about that. Thank you.
All right. Asante sana. Thank you, Rasji. I always love to listen to you. So if you're able to hang around with us, do hang around. I want to be able to say something very quickly before I hand it at the top of the hour for our regular junction of the day. And then after that, we'll speak to Obeds, and then we'll speak to Luca, if that would be good. I just want to say this as I give it to PP. And like I said earlier, our discussion today, and you'll hear it even in the junction, is with regards to who is your leader. And there has been several mentions somewhere in between as we were speaking to the last few speakers over the last hour with regards to the experience that has come with the man in power right now. And while we go on with the discussion, I just wanted to close that we had in the last hour by actually reading my last tweet today. During my free time, I love to do some writings. I call myself good with words, so I love to do some writings. And today, during a space in the morning, I came up with this, among other things that I also tweeted. A political genius, I didn't even know we are going to be discussing this. A political genius who manipulates situations and people to maintain power is often categorized in several traits. He's a strategic thinker. They possess a keen ability to analyze situations and they anticipate the move of the others, allowing them to stay several steps ahead. They are charismatic communicators because their persuasive skills enable them to rally support, sway public opinion, and create a strong personal brand. They are masters of deception. They adeptly conceal the truth intentions, they misinform, and their strategic ambiguity is seen by maintaining edge over rivals. They're emotionally intelligent, understanding the motivations and weaknesses of others. They can exploit these factors to manipulate relationships and alliances. Opportunistic in all ways possible because they capitalize on crises or shifts in public sentiment, repositioning themselves favorably, often adapting their message to resonate with the moment. Network builders, they cultivate a wide range of connections. They form alliances that can be leveraged for support or information. And the last one, which is the most important, I want you to keep in your mind: resilient and adaptive. In the face of setbacks, they quickly recalibrate their strategies, showing an ability to thrive under pressure. And I only have one question for you as we go to the top of the hour. Does any of that sound familiar?
Can you send me the link?
Thank you very much.
Can you send me the
Nitakutoa
link
kwa
for
hii
that?
show kwa sababu ya kufungua mic, and this is not a statement, it's a warning.
IPA, please keep that in mind. We like to keep the decorum of allowing whoever is speaking. If you'd like to say something, even request me of something, please put your hand up like Luca, Juza have been doing. Thank you very much for listening. It's top of the hour, 6 p.m. This is Home Run with PP. Pipita to you.
Jamani, mi sipendi kupandishwa pressure na ndo tumeanza siku. Hey, I've already had a 20-hour week without even going here.
This is Home Run with PP.
That aside, IPR review is going to learn a bit of decorum before addressing us here on Home Run with PP. This is, of course, not a market. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Home Run with PP. Happens here each and every weekday from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. We do not take breaks. We'll be here tomorrow as well. Siku ya mazingira, tutakuwa tu hapa. Of course, Kenyans, pandeni the right meat when you go out there to do the mazingira thing. But that is for another time. Yeah. Now, today, I want to speak again candidly to Kenyans. In the year 2002, we came together as Kenyans to put out an end of the dictatorship that was Moi. Kenyans were united. By then, we never knew who was Kisi, who was Kuria, who was Jaluo. We just knew one thing. We were Kenyans and we wanted that tyrant out. Then it came to 2005 when that when the constitution amendment came. Now I have the what we call the advantage of coming next from Migori County. So in Migori County, if you watch the news, there's always a camera there for clashes after election, anything. There's always a camera there, maandamano, and the road to access my up country is actually the Migori Sirari Highway. So they actually block the road to our home. So we always know when politics is happening. Now in 2005, the country was divided right into the middle. Now the parliamentary system of our country has divided our country into regions and balances. Sometimes balanced by parties, sometimes balanced by tribes. Now, when these people come together, the leaders, they also pull various parts of their people. So there are people who support Kimani Ichung'wah, there are people who support Rigathi Gachagua. Everybody is supported by someone. So when 2005 happened, kukakuwa na machungwa na kukakuwa na ndizi. One of them went and became PNU, and this other one became Orange Democratic Movement, and ODM Kenya actually ODM Kenya went to become ODM. That was a story. That is a story for another day. Now, I want us to talk. You know, Sasa, I only get this one time to speak on the show. When you look at 2005, that was the turning point of our country. Mwai Kibaki got angry. Jomo Kenyatta ruled as himself until he died. But he had handlers because he was an old man. Daniel Moi was a young deputy president, vice president then. And the handlers of President having very weird tactics. Torture became the way of the day. And he made a one-party state. Does that remind you of, does that ring a bell? So today when I'm asking who is your leader, I want to talk about the 2007 elections. In 2007, Kenyans were really tired with Mwai Kibaki. We always say, oh, Kibaki was our president. Kibaki was to be a one-term president. Wangapi wanakataa? Wacha hata nicheze jingle tupate wenye watasema kwamba what? Kibaki was supposed to be a one-term president.
You are listening to Home Run with Pipi. Weekdays from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m.
It just hit me right now that Mwai Kibaki was supposed to be a one-term president. Why? Because by 2005, when he fell out with Raila, the country became ungovernable for him. He had to reshuffle his cabinet. By 2007, he lost to Raila. They actually had to do a blackout Sarakasi so that he can be sworn in. So Mwai Kibaki was a one-term president. Okay. Now, by that time, we had already experienced the 90s, some fights in the 90s. In the 90s, we had already had people who had already had ethnic animosities, wanapigana kwa sababu ya kabila. We had clashes in Molo which were used yesterday to impeach the deputy president. Ladies and gentlemen, the reason why I'm pulling all these stories is for us to self-reflect. And this is me being candid. If we do not self-reflect now, we are going to burn. Now, when we got to fight in 2007, the Rift Valley was fighting with the people from Mulima, watu Mlima wanapigana na nani. But do you know who really lost? The common mwananchi, the people who cannot access their shambas right now in Eldoret. Wale watu walinyang'anywa. If we do not stop the hate, we are headed there. If we do not stop hating one another in basis of tribe, tunaenda huko. Wacha niwaambie leo. Let me say this. If you know very well, ukiandika tweet unasema Wajaluo, Wakisii, shame on you. Kwa sababu gani? At this moment in time, our country is on the cusp of being swayed in a very violent way. And if the people do not unite at this moment and shed off that tribal cocoon, we are not going to survive this. Look at the way the ground reacted to that. They might have downplayed it and also in Nairobi have sent goons to attack. But the truth of the matter is the people are angry. And at this moment, any seed that is planted in the hearts of the people, I'm afraid is going to grow. The reason why I'm asking us, who is our leader today, is because it has just hit me that we have hated on everybody. It means we are not ready for anybody. But if you look in any species, there is always a leader. So I ask us today, as we are getting to talk about sijui Mrima, sijui watu wa wapi, we need to stop this tribal animosity. It is dangerous. It is very, very dangerous. We need to speak peace. We are right in the middle of our presidential term. We should not be talking about tribes. We are now saying the people who are elected are now realigning. Yesterday, 281 out of the possible 347, is it 347? I plus about 330 or 340 representatives voted for a motion. We all agreed, yes, it is good, but it was not worthy the merits. But the heckling that we saw in Parliament, ladies and gentlemen, was out of the world. Na leo ningependa kuwakumbusha kwamba the Constitution of Kenya, mimi si msomi wa Constitution, but I know this. Kuna kitu inaitwa separation of powers. Ya kwamba there is the executive, there is the judiciary, there is the legislature. these three work together independently. Yesterday, we saw the hand of the executive inside the clothes of the parliament. Today in the morning, in Senate, our leaders are ready to do whatever to consolidate their powers. We should not buy into their catastrophic games. That's what I'll say to on my junction. Our leaders should not you should not buy into all this. We are getting charged. Even when you look at our timeline, Twitter used to be chaotic on Sundays. Bring back Sunday Twitter. Right there, sasa ukiandika kitu yote Twitter, you get insulted. Utatukanwa hata na mamako, utaonyeshwa mambo mbaya. Twitter has been, and you know, the worst part is we keep on hating on each other without solutions. We are so ready to jump into conclusions, to jump into hating. And you know, the worst part about remembering that your tribe is that you forget when all this is said and done, the Kenya Revenue Authority only recognizes a percentage of your salary. And right now, it is more than 30% of your salary. Where is your money going? To Social Health Insurance Fund, which 104 billion shillings was put up to set up the system, which has already failed in 7 days. That is where your anger should be. But you'd rather get angry because somebody somewhere is said to be a mole. Where should be your anger? Your anger should be that right now you are paying taxes to pay people to sell your airport so that you can only use airports made by foreigners who you have known to have abused you with your mother every day when you work. Why do you use them as the marking scheme? And you know the funny part about having media and all of us having social media, when you look at the Rwandese genocide, the media was involved. When you look at the 2007 election violence, the media was involved. When you look at right now, when we are impeaching Rigathi Gachagua, the media has gone to Madeira, the media has gone to Nyeri, and they are making sure that they are using the most fire of words against President Ruto and the people. It is not about where that guy comes from at the end of it all. And in 2007, when Ocampo came out with the list, there were politicians, there was the police, and there was Joshua Sang, who was one of the media. And that is why, by me having this media space, it gives me so much responsibility of what we disseminate through these spaces, because we have the powers to burn this country. We have the powers to unite this country. It's a choice. And it's up to us, our people, to love each other. Every time I open this space, I don't know who is coming to my space. I have never said this is a Kikuyu space. I have never said this is a somebody's space. I'm not saying it is a bad space. But if you use tribe to separate, it is wrong. We all come from somewhere. You celebrate your culture. Mwacha mila ni mtumwa, lakini mwenye anatumia mila zake kuumiza wengine, yeye ndiye master. I leave it at that, ladies and gentlemen. That is my junction today.
You are listening to...
You lost it all, PP. You lost it all because you left one thing out, the spirit of the conversation. You brought everything out about the letter and who does what and does what. And then you are like, what are we dealing with? Are we dealing with the spirit or the letter of what is brought out that we don't want to ban this country? How then do we combat the Rutoism that is really creeping in to destroy what we are as a people? So even as the impeachment goes on, it's important for us to think and analyze and ask ourselves, is this a situation where we are losing ourselves to what is prescribed in law and all this, but the spirit of Rutoism is creeping in to destroy you and me? So as much as we analyze this game has shifted. PP, this game has shifted. DK, this game has shifted. This is about what spirit are we inviting to the Kenyan conversation about governance. Why? It's because the spirit of who dominates you, who can change your constitution, who can destroy your constitution, it is where we are. So yes, I agree with you. Your space has been extremely accommodative to some of us who are on the other end on this. But on this one, I am sorry, I'm going to fight to the bitter end to say that this impeachment is ill-advised, ill-informed, evil designed. And we'll get
And
to
for
that
me, I'm
discussion.
not even against it, I'm not even against, and my opinion today has nothing to do with that issue of whether the impeachment is good or bad, Bwana Justice. Umeamkia tu na mangumi za shingo. My point today is, let us be peaceful towards Obeds. Wacha kwanza compose.
Okay, let me say this.
Roger,
And,
Obed, just wait.
sorry,
Obed,
my
just wait a
apologies.
minute.
I was called.
I'm actually coming to you, but I need to say something. And I'm not in defense of Pipita, but I'm just going to say it right now. Just as you may have some point you've said, but please, guys, let us just have some decorum at some point. You cannot just walk into as much as you have something to say, everybody has something that is burning in their in their hearts that they would like to also mention. When you walk into a conversation and you simply just take on the mic because you have something to say, I think it's a bit disrespectful and uncalled for. So please, tafadhali, appreciate the fact that there is also some other people who have their hands up and are also waiting to speak and are also pressed just like you. And justice, that one is to you because I don't think I appreciate that personally. I don't like being in
apologies.
spaces.
I'll drop down to listening. I apologize.
Pipi, just
Achana justice.
Okay.
No,
PP, I apologize. I honestly apologize.
No, it's okay.
Bro, welcome back.
It's all good.
It's all good.
It's all good. Obeds. DK, relax.
Appreciate what the name is. Fine.
Acha tusikize Obeds.
Thank you, PP. Thank you, PP. And for me, you have very valid arguments, and I think it is important that we do appreciate as a people. Sorry if you hear background noise. I'm on the road. We need to appreciate that we have failed ourselves in so many ways and facets. We do not deal with the issues as they are. We love drama and theatrics. The political class know this too well. And so what do? They give us drama, divert our attention, we bite on it, they do what they want to do. Impeachment, whatever it is that they are doing, it is their business. It's a fight amongst the political class. And that's what it should be, and it should remain. Let us keep our eyes on what is important. 38% of people who are working goes to the government in terms of taxes. Are we getting value for that? I don't think so. That's what we should be demanding. We shouldn't be looking at each other from our tribal angle. We are ethnic, as you say. By nature, people have to identify. That's why you're called Pipi or you're called Anthony. That's why there's DK and there's Jason. Why people have to come from somewhere. But that shouldn't make you feel bigger or better than other people. What is important, as a people, we need to ask ourselves what we have agreed to be led by. The social contract we signed ourselves with the political class, is it working? I don't think it is at the moment. What we need to do, we probably need to sit and rework on that. However, while we do that, let us just know that it's not going to be straightforward or easy because there is no politician who's just going to let you get into politics easily or, fight and take it away from them. They'll find means and ways to try and fight back. Remember, and maybe you see something very nice, especially when you enter about the historical context of how we ended up here. Part of the problem we have today in terms of the political coalitions is a creation of the man that we love and talk about the most, Mwai Kibaki. He stole an election in 2007 and he had to find a way to accommodate the people he stole from. So we have allowed bad manners and we've also allowed theatrics to dominate what are essential and cloud what is important from us. Do we need to demand, and we must have better education, better health, and ensure that people can feed themselves. Once these things are taken care of, people will have their own houses if they want. So government doesn't need to get in the business of, houses. That's why they're stealing from us and they cannot even account for that money. What we need to do, demand for the basic things so that after that, everybody else is in a position where they can make decisions without thinking about their stomach. Currently, you're impoverished. The political class will look like they are saviors when they bring you 2,000 shillings for a bursary. And I sit here today and I worry for us because a lot of us are looking at Morara, somebody saying he's been paid. Somebody was saying KOT Sonko is also what. Those are nonsensical. Everybody contribute in your own capacity, make a positive difference in your own space and grow that. And so, PP, good effort. Let's not give up. Keep fighting. Let's also walk the talk. It's one thing to talk, it's another thing to do. We must, if it's money required to support what has to be done, we must put ourselves in there. If you need to give yourself physically and individually or give your skill, let us all put hands on deck and make a difference. That is the only way we're going to liberate this country. And remember, it's not going to be easy or straightforward. The political class are going to fight back. That's why today you would see they have coalesced because they are feeling these people want to take away what we already have. Let's not stop, keep fighting. But we must do this within the confines of the law. We have a good constitution. It gives
Luca, who has had his hand up for a minute. I'll go to Luca, then Juza, and then I'll go to Justice before we listen to the main man himself. Bona Western Shilao. Western, just be patient with me. I have been waiting for this moment. I'm introducing you into this moment before 7. Fifi is not stealing this one from me. Luca, Karibu, and please remember for everyone who's listening to us, Home Run with PP is always supported by you. So if you like what you're doing here, tip Jacob Aleju 0721-948-229 to support kwele kazi mzuri tunafanya hapa. Luca, maybe give us your rebuttal and then we'll go to Juza.
Okay, shalom, brothers and sisters. I hope you guys are fine. Yeah, I spoke earlier and I thought it's nice that I jump in again and add something little. So wale wenye mjapewa chance, please msikasirike that mbona this guy is given 2 chances at a go na sisi hatujaongea. Now, sorry, I know we're talking about who's my leader, but I just wanted to go back and speak something little about William Ruto. I think the thing we fail to understand is that it's not that William Ruto is not someone who's not wise. The thing is, this guy is smart and is a step ahead of us. But he pretends that we are on the same level with him. Okay? So this guy, he has set down his agenda. So I don't know what his agenda is, but from the activities that he's been doing, I think this guy has somehow has a liking for money and power. because of the things that have been happening all along. So he has set down this agenda and is working towards it. Okay? So that is why he's been able to, make parliament his praise and worship. That's why he's been able to, make sure that he has parliament at the grasp of his hand. Then from there now they are achieving his agenda. That's why this guy, even the guys that he sent to parliament to be vetted as the CSs, their guys is able to, manipulate and, achieve his agenda through them. So as we are trying to set our agenda as well, which is the best for this country, we have to know what we are dealing with. It's like, do you guys watch wrestling? The script is just written like ishaandikwa kutoka mwanzo hadi mwisho. That's why you see when those guys, they come into the ring, they abuse each other. There's wakiwa kwa ring, then one, they start a fight. As they continue fight, then unaona mmoja amelemewa, another one runs from up there kuja kurescue this guy. Na sisi wengine tuko hapo tunasherehekea, tunasema yeah. But at the end of the day, those guys are achieving their agendas. So this is what William Ruto is doing. And the sad thing is, as the citizens, you and me, kuna wengine hawajaelewa that this is what is going on. This is where we need a lot of civic education. I keep insisting, we need a lot of civic education. Civic education ifike huko mashinani, especially those guys down in the villages. They need a lot of civic education. Kuna watu who don't even know that they are paying taxes. These are the people that we need to tell them that, you know what, hata ukinunua chumvi, ushalipa taxes. And this is how it affects you. So this is what we really need to do. Now coming to this idea of who is my leader, nadhani at this moment tusijiweke sana to the issue of the leaders. If we can first concentrate on civic education, I think we change first the people through civic education, then now we move to the agenda of the leaders. I think I might be wrong, but I think that might be the way that we can take this fight. Yeah, thanks. I yield my mic.
Thank you, Luca. Before we go to Juza, I just have to throw in a curveball about this civic education thing, yeah? So we always talk about civic education. We want to do civic education, twende mashinani. Sir, how did we get people to go out on 25th of June, or on 18th of June, or on Nani? We used digital media. Why don't we create posters educating people? Why don't we create videos educating people? Hapo ndo civic education inaanza donge ama ni aje DK?
Exactly. Hata kuna there's someone that we are having someone I'm having a discussion with regards to they're setting up an organization, they're trying to do something that they're putting up, and they were asking me as a communications person, story na mashinani, watu wanasema simu haziko ta. Venye tu umesema pipi, finance bill ilifikia
what do you mean simu haziko mashinani na kuna simu za M-Kopa huko Ocha? Umeenda Ocha siku hizi one
Buda nika ulikuwa kwa hiyo conversation nikimuongelesha asubuhi, because nilimuuliza nilikuwa shags like a couple of weeks ago, bro, hata nikuambie saizi hii story tunajidanganya huko ati simu za smartphone ati hazijafika Gishagi is a lie. Those people are walking around with smartphones all over. That means today, myself, in my expertise of knowing how to carry out targeted marketing promotions that will go specifically to young men and women seated in a village in Mukoroine and other areas, it means I can be able to create one small write-up that continues the conversation of what is this we're saying, the civic education thing. Because the truth is this, yes, true, tuna need kwenda mashinani. Na lazima watu watoke waende. But how many times are we going to be able to go to mashinani? Maybe few, physically. But hii digital inaweza tufikisha huko. Wacha nisimamie hapo, nimeona nitaenda design nyingine. Juza, habari ya jioni.
Salama sana, labda yako na everyone in the space.
Tuko salama, tuongeleshe.
Thank you very much. Now yangu, I think tumeanza from a very wrong premise. The question is, who is your leader? And mimi personally, mi sitafuti a leader. I don't have a leader. I don't want to be led. Mi natafuta a representative. These guys are elected representatives. They're not our leaders. A leader ni a general who leads soldiers. Leaders are chosen. And leaders don't have to represent your interests. They can choose an interest for you. So a CEO is a leader. You don't have a choice in the decisions a CEO makes. No. They're chosen by the board. They're not there to represent your interests. So kama hiyo ndio format yenye tunataka, then okay. But if you're looking for elected representatives, then we need to change our mindset kabisa. Mimi sitaki mtu akijiita leader for me immediately. We start from a point of disagreement, because that means they can do something that I didn't elect them to do, because the subject version of a leader is a follower. A leader doesn't get a citizen. We're citizens. We're not followers. We're citizens. Now, citizens elect representatives. Now, just to give an example, someone like Morara, for example, that's a leader, because we didn't choose him for the Inject party. They created it, nini. But if we were to elect him to a representative seat, MP, governor, or whatever, he changes from a leader to a representative, which means ako hapo ku represent our interests, and we can na our values, unaona, na our priorities, basically. Now, kwangu, that's a very significant difference, because Ruto come from a mindset of leading us and your followers. That's why he can dictate a path for us. Na anashinda akisema how he's creating a vision for us. No. He keeps saying that he's creating a vision for a better Kenya. Doesn't matter if it represents our values or not, or if it represents our reality. No, he wants to create a vision for us. That's a very different thing from representing our day-to-day interests. Leo niko na njaa, I don't need an airport, for example. But yeye hajali about you, because he is there to implement his vision of how he wants our lives to be. So kwangu, that's a very significant difference. I don't know if there's any disagreement or agreement, which is okay. I think that's why these spaces are there, for there to be very good agreement or disagreement and conversations. So for me, I would want as many people as possible to change the mindset to representatives, so that we don't keep looking for one person. We're keeping looking for mtu mwenye ati ako na criteria. He's not a sellout, hajanunuliwa, hajafanywa nini, because we're looking for a Moses. Unaona, we're looking for a Moses to lead us to Canaan. Very wrong mindset. That does not exist. Unaona, even in the most advanced economies. Saizi in the UK, the Prime Minister is arresting people for social media posts. In the UK, unaona, the UK that gave us the UK of giving the world constitutions. That's where it started. The UK of giving the world freedoms and rights and civic rights and whatnot. That UK, people are being arrested for social media posts. Unaona, for saying the wrong thing. Yeah. So let's not think that there are people who care about us, ama nini, and start thinking of ourselves as active partners in this process. Active partners with the people we put on that seat to represent our interests. Unaona? So that akisonga kidogo out of alignment, we can be able to correct and adjust. Unaona? But in this fight we will keep facing problems with watu kama kina Morara and nini and them quitting and then coming back because we are looking for a Moses, and Moseses in democracies do not exist. Moseses don't exist in a model like China, where you look for a supreme leader to lead you into some good future. No. But now all of us here are citizens, and all of us are capable of taking these seats. Tunafaa kuanza from that position. In fact, if 2 million people arose today and decided they want to pursue these seats, I would be very happy, because then tutaanza more serious conversations about how to take over the whole system. But now we're looking for one person to lead us into Canaan, as if there aren't 1,600 seats to occupy. Unaona, juzi tuliangushwa na a parliament of 300 something people. Unaona, a parliament of 300 something people, which means we need 300 people minimum to occupy these seats. Unaona, and they need to come from somewhere. Na ni sisi, si watu wengine. Si watu wengine. So, that is my humble submission. It's interesting to hear all you
right.
speak. Thank you very much.
Joseph, before you go, I'm going to pose a question to you, and I'd like you to answer it in just 30 seconds, and then after that, I'll go to Justice for All.
Kabisa.
Yeah? Because there's one point you said up there when you were starting off in terms of elected representatives versus what I would call political leaders.
Okay.
So the question I wanted to ask you is, in your view, what qualities are essential for an elected representative to effectively serve his role to serve his people beyond the role of also being a political leader? Is my question clear?
Yes. Kwangu, an elected representative, a political leader, wacha tuzite as synonyms, they only need to share one thing. They only need to share the values you share, period. Hizo vitu zingine, kwangu ni non-essentials. If they share, for example, if I believe in the constitution, I believe in economic freedom, I believe in sama nini and character, they only need to share those things for them to earn my vote. Hizo zingine, it's a matter of agreement, disagreement. But kwangu, that's the basic.
Asante. Thank you very much, Jose, and that's a very interesting line of thought. Justice for all. Sorry for ruffling feathers, kidogo. My apologies for that. Please talk to us. Good evening. Justice for all. Okay. I'll go to
No, I can try to give a quick sorry, DK, can you hear me?
Sure.
DK, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, a very a good one, and I do appreciate the submissions from every. This is robust and excellent communication. Did Obed's drop? I wanted to reference something to what Obed spoke, but he is dropped. That's fine. But I also want to appreciate the fact that we are moving this into a conversation about who is your leader. But I dismissed the question to begin with by asking that I think the problem right now is not about who is your leader, it's about what movement you subscribe to or what spirit is behind the leader that you are trying to bring on board. So why I do that, DK and PP, is because the threat right now that we are facing as a country is not about who is the leader, is about what philosophy, what movement, what spirit this person is moving with. What I've been calling the Rutoism, it's a spirit thing, it's a movement thing. It's not about a person. It's about people who espouse and ascribe that your power is galvanized and brought together based on how much influence you have in the society, based on the ill-earned wealth. But as we have this conversation moving forward, I can see my bestest friends have their hands up. I want to say this. the best way to have this conversation at DK and PP is for us to have a very fair conversation, which is not influence. PP is not bought, DK is not bought. So allow me to request, this is a humble request, that we give something. We're not even contributing. We give something to the tip jar, and this is my honest commitment that whatever you give, hata kama unatoa 50, 100, 1,000, 2,000 and everything, that we are going to give in the next, let's say, the next 18 minutes. Because the goal for me today is like, at least to saidia the tip jar and my brother PP to raise at least 50K to keep this moving. Kama hata uko na kitu kidogo tu, I will match that. So it and itakuwa credited to you. Meaning, kama ukitoa 100, hiyo ni 200 tu that you have given. And it's going to be announced, either DK has given 200. Meaning, you give 100, it's going to be announced DK has given 200. Kama ni CS Mzito, ukitoa 500, so CS Mzito umetoa 1,000. Because I'm going to match every shilling that you are going to contribute to support the movement. Why are we doing this? Just for clarity and for the record. It's because we do not want this space to be influenced by the forces or the powers that be out there to take away our independence of what we are doing. So, kama mtasaidia Western, my little kid over there, if anything you can contribute, it will be matched 100% match. So let's do that. We can extend it to a little bit until we reach 50K for today. Please, it's for the sake of the movement. It cannot go forward without resources. I love you guys and I appreciate the work that we are doing. DK, you can take over from there, but I just wanted to make sure that it's out there. Please, let's share something. Jaribu kidogo tu. God bless.
All right. Thank you very much. And as you've heard, that was 18 minutes. Now it's 16 minutes. So, ladies and gentlemen, whatever support that you're able to show to the Home Run family on the tip jar on the top there, 0721948229, will actually be matched up to a double. So 100 goes for 200, 50 bob goes for 100, and so on and so forth. So tafadhalini, if you like what we're doing, you're most appreciated. And without further ado, Kai, Pipita, uko karibu, sijui tunafaa kukuwa na nini na jingo ya kuwelcome on stage.
Ndio hiyo. Acha tumpatie ya huyu jamaa akipigana ngumi hiyo. You are listening to. Sio hiyo hii hapa.
You are listening to Home Run with Pipi. Weekdays from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Sana bwana.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, kama uko karibu, tafadhali take a seat. Karibia kidogo, we are about to go to a very serious lesson and class right now. I would like to call on Western Shilaho to take a few minutes and talk to us. Western, good evening.
Hi, DK, how are you?
Very fine, yourself?
Keeping well, small, the usual ups and downs of life.
Excellent. Glad to hear from you, bro. Take us through what your thoughts are for our topic today.
Thank you. I'm always grateful for this chance, opportunity, and greetings to fellow compatriots and people of the world. One, I begin with a question. Who is your leader? Yourself. It's yourself. Yourself. You can't start looking for a leader, for somebody to show you direction when you cannot lead yourself. It's that simple. You must first provide leadership to your person. Then you will be in a position to see someone else who has got vision. If you can't provide leadership to yourself, you are adrift. You know, not like some of these plants that, splash their seeds in the air and they are just, going by the wind. Or sometimes they're floating on water, going by the water and the waves. So it's yourself, first and foremost. People who can't lead themselves look for heroes. So-and-so is my hero and stuff like that. You find somebody is, describing someone they have never met as their hero. But in their own backyard, their mother has done so much for them. Their father has done so much for them. Their friend done so much for them, but they never regard those people as their heroes because they've got this messiah complex, this savior complex. And I'm afraid as a society, Kenya, we are diminished by that mindset. We are ever looking for people to rescue us, even when history shows that there are no such people in our midst. It's about collective responsibility, collegial leadership. Somebody who is at the helm is just the first amongst equals. If something happens to them, somebody else will take over and progress will be realized. So I think we have to perish that mentality, that thought. Oh, we need a leader, no. That's a self-defeating kind of approach. Secondly, Pipita, I was listening to you and I was impressed because history counts. Any serious society never disregards history. In any serious society, history is one of the principal disciplines in school. History is one of the principal disciplines in school. No child of that serious society ever goes to school without having an idea of where the society they were born in, they are growing up in, is coming from. Because it's by realizing where you are coming from that you are in a position to tell where you're going. As it said, nothing predicts the future with precision like history. And everything else passes except the past. In Kenya, we trivialize history. And even on these spaces, I've heard some of my fellow compatriots pouring a lot of scorn or the historical reading of where we are. No, history doesn't matter. Why are you, itemizing things that happened in the past? Now, when you hear that, you realize that, look, there's a big problem on our hands here. This amnesia does not help us. It contributes to the myriad of problems that we wake up to every single day. For instance, Pipita, you mentioned the 2002 elections. The 2002 elections were meant to constitute what you'd call the Rubicon. The Rubicon. Those elections were to mark our crossing the Rubicon. When you cross the Rubicon, as a society, as an individual, it's like you've surmounted a history. You've entered a new phase as an individual, as a society. We are parting ways with the politics of political tribalism, politics of impunity, politics of corruption, politics of callousness, politics of torture and violence. We're beginning afresh with these elections. Alas, that was never to be. It was never to be. It was never to be because of something very simple but very basic in interpersonal relations: trust, honesty, MOU he had signed pre-election with at that time they were called LDP, Liberal Democratic Party. An MOU, a gentleman agreement, gentleman. It was trashed. And I can put it to you, the problems we're encountering now, they can be traced to that, directly to that. These problems of elections that are contested